Hello, I'm Bob Guerra.
And I'm Brittany Hodak.
Welcome to This Week in Country Music. It's a new podcast that covers what's happening right now in country music. You know, with so many great new artists and superstars, it's easy to miss big news, but don't you worry, we're going to get you up to speed.
That's right. We're going to get you up to speed, and we're also going to break down 6 songs that you need to hear every single week, plus fill you in on all the biggest news from right here in Nashville and all around the country.
We'll also invite some of your favorite artists into the studio. Later in the show, as a matter of fact, we're going to be talking to the great Keith Urban about his creative and songwriting process and a whole lot more. I'll also bring a little throwback into each episode with the legacy segment that you won't want to miss. Our first one will be with Brooks and Dunn.
You know, I heard a little bit of that interview earlier, and trust me when I say you definitely don't want to miss it.
Every week, as Brittany said, we're going to break down the 6 songs that you have to hear. Why 6? Well, it's because good things come in 6s.
Like 6-packs.
6 packs of beer, 6 packs of what? Everything?
6 points when you score a touchdown?
Exactly. You can find these songs in full along with some other great music from today's show on our This Week in Country Music playlist, available at all your favorite streaming destinations. You ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay.
First up, we've got the new one from Carrie Underwood. It's been a big week for her. Fans waited so long, and Cry Pretty is finally here.
And I understand you're going to be talking about her new album and new family member a little later on in the show in our news segment.
I am, but for now, here's Carrie's powerful new message to the world: love wins. Let's stay on the theme of love for a minute. This next song is from newcomer Jimmie Allen. It's called Best Shot.
Here's a fun fact. When Jimmie performed the song on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry for the first time, he got himself a standing O.
It's a place I've been wanting to play since I was 12. I remember I was with my grandmother and my dad. My grandmom died in 2014, and we were really close. And come back from fishing with my dad and my grandmom, and they had asked me, Jimmie, you ever heard of Grand Ole Opry? I was like, nope. And I got a lesson on the Grand Ole Opry then, and ever since then, I've been wanting to do it. So to be able to play it and then play a song that I wrote that means so much to me emotionally and get a standing ovation after it, I was like, wow, okay. My life is over. I could die right now, and I'm good.
What a great story. All right, now let's check out Best Shot.
I'm not saying that I'm perfect, though, 'cause girl, you know I'm not. But I love you. Everything I got, girl, I'll give you my best shot.
I'm so excited about this next song. It's Runaway June's new one, Buy My Own Drinks. It's so much fun. It perfectly captures the group's personality, and I think it's going to do really well at radio. And
they're going to be on tour with Carrie next year, right?
Yes, Runaway June and Carrie are going out on the road. Maddie and Tay are also going to be there, so it's going to be a super fun bill on that Cry Pretty World Tour. And here's the fun fact about Runaway June. Did you know that Jennifer Wayne is actually a granddaughter of John Wayne?
That's pretty cool there, Pilgrim. Here's Jennifer, Naomi, and Hannah with Buy My Own Drinks.
Now, speaking of buying drinks, when Carly Pearce saw this next guy, she wanted him to buy her a drink. She was apparently head over heels from the minute she saw him. And I mean, can you blame her? He's a pretty good-looking guy.
I wouldn't know about that.
Okay, well, take my word for it. Michael Ray is a pretty good-looking guy, and he and Carly are one of my favorite new country music couples.
Well, I think Carly and Michael are both the real deal as artists. So we're going to be hearing a lot more from both of them. Here's Michael's new one, One That Got Away.
That's all right, that's okay. She's gonna be one hell of a one that got away. That's all right, might hurt, but hey, she's gonna be one hell of a one that got away.
Music Row keeps signing some pretty talented female singers. Rachel Womack is one of the latest.
Oh, I love Rachel. Her new single, Damage, is just so good.
I caught up with her at Sony Music in Nashville, and she gave me the inside scoop on the song.
It is a true story. I was a bartender when I first moved to town, to Nashville, because I didn't have a deal. And I was not a great bartender, but I did learn a lot about people, and I love people. And I learned how to listen to a person. And up until that point, I feel like I did not listen to people a lot. I was very much just talking without listening. And sometimes people just need someone to be there and listen. And I just so happened to be the person on the other side of the bar who could help carry a burden for whoever was sitting there. And that is where the inspiration from Damage came, from those experiences of me listening to people's stories and sharing my own.
Oh, love can do, love can do, love can do some damage.
So if you were to ask Rachel or just about anybody else in country music to pick an artist whose career they hope to emulate, I'll bet she'd say Dolly.
I bet she would. Everybody loves Dolly. She's incredible. I mean, she's an artist, a philanthropist, an entrepreneur, a producer. I could go on forever about Dolly.
And don't forget actor. This week's fans can't get enough of Here I Am, her powerful new collaboration with Sia from the upcoming Netflix movie Dumpling, starring Jennifer Aniston.
The song is so great. And Bob, did you know that Dolly originally released this song all the way back in 1971?
Well, I think it was Coat of Many Colors, wasn't it?
Exactly, yeah. It was her Coat of Many Colors album. And, you know, I think that the song is still just as relevant today as it was 40-something years ago. And that's the mark of a true artist.
Here's the timeless Dolly with Sia, and Here I Am. That does it for this week. Those are our top 6 picks of the week. Now, be sure to listen to them in their entirety whenever you stream music. Just look for This Week in Country Music playlist.
And be sure to let us know what songs you think we should be listening to. Use the hashtag 6picks and send us a message at This Week in Country.
Keith Urban is the very first guest on our This Week in Country Music feature interview. Keith recently released his new album, Graffiti You, and we were fortunate enough to get him to talk about it and some other cool stuff. Keith, come on in here, mate.
How you doing, Bob?
I've been taking this music class over at Belmont, and it's called What's So Great About the Beatles.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And one of the things that I've discovered, I've always been a Beatle fan, is that they were always exploring musically. They never really settled for anything in particular, especially when they became a studio band instead of a touring band.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because when I hear your albums, that's what I think about. Because you're constantly looking for something different or unique in terms of your exploration of music itself. And I think it's one of the reasons why your albums are so much fun to listen to.
Thank you.
Because it's one of those type of things where I think you could probably, if you didn't have to tour and didn't have a family, you could probably spend months and years inside a studio.
And I would.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I
just
would.
messing around,
Yeah.
just having fun. So tell me, in the process of your creating music, how much of that, how important is that in terms of the creation of the album, song by song, sequence to sequence, much like the Beatles did, okay? When you're deciding, okay, it's time to start this album, how do you, is it a complete blank sheet when you're starting?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I know that I might have some songs that I feel are good starting points. And the thing I feel is that I know I'm going to do an enormous amount of work to just scrap it all. I know that going in. It's the only heartbreak I have about making records is I know that it's going to probably take a lot of false starts, probably. They're not even false starts. They're just getting me there. They're things to start pointing me in the right direction. The only way I know, it's like I've got to start walking. So those first steps might be going in the wrong direction, but eventually they'll start leading me in the right
If I remember correctly, too, Keith, you don't really get into the lyrics at first. You find melodies.
Yeah.
Okay, for songs.
Yeah.
Much like McCartney does. He hears something and then he tries to put the words that fit. How hard is that? Because melodies can go in any different direction. And is that why you have quite a number of songwriters for each track?
Yeah, Coming Home, for example, that's a good example of that started with the Merle Haggard sample from Mama Tried, and then we wrote chords around that, very different chords to Mama Tried, and that chord cycle. I just sat there and listened to those chords and the track. There was no music. There was no lyric and no melody or anything yet, and it made me think of home. Hearing that Merle Haggard sample from Mama Tried made me think of home. It just felt like home. And so the chorus became immediate. There's a place that I know where they all know me. I got to get back now to the ones who love me, wrap myself around you, never let you go. There's nothing in the world that feels like coming home. It just came out straight up. And I went, okay. And you go, all right, well, what's this song about? And the next thing that happened was the track is playing. I have a microphone, and I sing, "To get fit my story, to get sort of dead on by." I have that on tape, literally, me singing that, and no idea what the words are yet, but I know that's the melody. And when I wrote with Julia Michaels, I sang her that melody, and I said, I got to figure out what these lyrics are, because that's the melody. She had this other idea for melody, and she scrapped that and went back to hers, and we wrote these lyrics, and it was fine, but it wasn't. I kept coming back to this melody that came out. It was very organic, and it was right. So I wrote to it, and what I did was I just kept listening to my gibberish and thought, there's something in here. So I'm and I went, I wake up feeling in my soul I'm living someone else's life. That's what it sounded like I said. And I went, that is what the song's about. It's totally about that. So it was all there trying to get out.
Wow, that is a cool story. That's an excellent story. And then, the thing is, going back to the Beatles, they weren't touring anymore, so they could live in the studio for a month and spend hours on one track. You got a bit of a deadline because you have a very busy road schedule. You got a family to take care of.
Yeah.
How do you jam that in? And studio time's expensive too. So how do you go about fitting all that in to that purity that you're looking for?
Weirdly enough, by putting my family first, everything else tends to fall into place.
Okay.
It really has. I put them first, and I end up with the time I need to make the music I need to make. I have a studio at the house, which has changed my life a lot and changed the way I can create in the moment. But I think, just taking as long as it takes. I have a fantastic record label with Capitol Records here in town I've been with for a long, long time, since the beginning. And they just let me make my records. And I want to get it done at when it needs to be done, but sometimes it's months later than that. And this Graffiti U was that was definitely the case. I thought I was going to be done in November, and it took until, when is it now? Is it April? It took until just a few weeks ago to finish it.
I was listening to the tracks, and I want to make sure I talk about the correct title of the song from Graffiti U, which is your brand new album. And it's the first track. And what I really thought it was really cool about that is you decided that the bass was gonna be the primary instrument in this entire track.
Yes.
Okay.
Of Never Coming Down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It blew me away, man.
Oh, thank you.
'Cause I had not heard any of that in a long, long time. But organically, how did you decide to let the bass be the front instrument on this?
I've written a few songs on bass guitar on an album I did. I think it was on Love, Pain, and the Whole Crazy Thing. There's a song called Faster Car, and I wrote that on bass, and I play bass on that. But I hadn't done much of that since then. That was 12 years ago. When we did the last record, I played the bass on John Cougar, John Deere, John 316, and I had such a blast playing it, because I'm a bit of a hack bass player, and I think that's why it's so fun, that I thought I need to get back into writing with the bass. The reason I love writing with bass is it liberates the melody. Chords kind of lock you in to a certain melodic structure a little bit, but because the bass is just one note at a time, it liberates where the melody can go. So Never Coming Down was a drum machine groove, and then I grabbed the bass and we started writing that song.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every one of your albums also seems to you find a brand new piece of gear, I guess the best way to describe it. The last album, I think, I'm not a musician, I'm not an engineer, but it was the box, I called it. And basically it was, you even used it in concerts where you were able to create a lot of electronic sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The Phantom that our guy Nathan plays.
Any surprises in this album? Any new piece of gear that you found? You said, you know what, let's get this in this album.
Absolutely. There's a song on the album called Texas Time, and the track was finished, and I thought, I want one more. What haven't I heard on radio in a long, long time? And I thought, I haven't heard the talk box, the guitar talk box, which is...
Oh, like Peter Frampton?
It's most famously known by Peter Frampton, and, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or Living on a Prayer was another big hit using the guitar talk box. And I thought, I've got one, and I thought I haven't used one in a decade. Let's drag that out and put it on the song.
Get the dust off.
So we literally had... Peter Frampton makes his own Framptone model talk boxes now. I had one of those. This is such a crazy story. It blew up while we were recording the song. My guitar tech used to work for Peter, worked with him for a decade. So he's like, oh, we'll just call up Pete. So he calls up Peter Frampton. So we just blew up this talk box. Have you got another one? He goes, I got 100 of them. Just come over to my house. So we went and borrowed his talk box. So it's literally Peter Frampton's talk box on that song.
Good deal. I'll have more with Keith a little later on in the episode. Matter of fact, he's going to be talking about he and his wife, Nicole Kidman, going to each other's award show. It's good stuff. But right now, Brittany is back and ready to bring us up to date with some This Week in Country Music News.
That's right. And Kelsey Ballerini has been all over the news this week. Her new collaboration with the Chainsmokers just dropped. It's called This Feeling, and I think it's a smash hit. I'm going to call it right now. She's following in Maren's footsteps. She's going to have a pop #1 with this song.
Whoa, #1 on the pop charts.
I think it's going to happen. And pop is a domain she's getting increasingly comfortable in. Did you hear she just announced that she's going out on the road with one of her own pop heroes, Miss Kelly Clarkson?
That I didn't know.
And as if that tour with Kelly wasn't enough to keep her busy, she's going to be pulling up a big red judge's chair, joining NBC's The Voice. So next up, Carrie's Cry Pretty album that we've been talking about, it's going to be #1 by a mile on the charts this week. And to hear Carrie tell it, the entire creative vision for the album came together when she wrote that first song.
We decided to break some rules, and I felt like that was a really good representation of that. I could see everything visually. I could just kind of see the album cover in my head and all the things that we could do with it as far as, pictures and video and tour and stuff like that. Like, once it just popped into my head that this should be the title, I kind of couldn't get that out of my head.
Carrie also got very personal with fans this week, sharing some personal heartbreak, including the fact that she and her husband have suffered 3 miscarriages in the past 2 years, and she was hospitalized for a pretty scary incident when she was in Germany earlier this year.
See, people always just see the good stuff many times, and they don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. I was so sad to hear that.
Exactly. And, it really makes the song Cry Pretty take on a whole new meaning, and everybody loves Carrie. She's got fans everywhere, and we can't wait to meet that brand new bundle of joy in a few months.
Are they going to name the what the sex of the little baby is?
I know last time Brad did the gender reveal on the CMA Awards, so knowing Carrie, I bet she's got something fun up her sleeves this time too.
Okay, I understand you got one more story for us.
Yes, we're going to take a quick look at some of this week's winners. Luke Bryan topping the radio airplay charts for the second week in a row with Sunrise, Sunburn, Sunset, Repeat. FGL still sitting atop the Hot Country Songs chart 42 weeks, absolutely shattering records with Meant to Be. And the guys told me a little bit this week about that new album that we can expect soon.
We've got some collaborations. We've got just some good old FGL old-fashioned slammers, we call them.
Big slammers.
And some big old show rockers, you know what I'm saying? No, we're just excited. It just feels like chapter 4. It feels like the next step, the next phase. And, we always try to raise the bar, and I think we've raised it again. And Yeah, I think there's a freshness. I think there's still a familiarity with our music, with our sound, and it's as new as it is. I think, you know, it's still gonna sound like FGL, and we've had a lot of time to write, to get songs, to, you know, finesse them in the studio, and, you know, just it's cool.
I'm sure that album's going to be incredible and well worth the wait. That's it for news, but I'll be back with a social snapshot here in a bit.
As promised, we're going to play more of my interview with Keith Urban right here on This Week in Country Music. Both you and your wife have been, you know, on the award circuit here quite a bit. You're getting nominations. She's getting nominations. When you guys are going and doing these things, and let's just say it's her event or she's coming and it's your event, how do you handle it? All of a sudden you're in Hollywood and she's the focus, okay? Because she's the nominee. She's Nicole Kidman, okay? And it's not that people don't know you, but she's the main focus.
Absolutely, the main attraction.
Yeah. So, and conversely, when it's the CMA or ACM Awards,
she's still the main attraction.
Well, she is from the standpoint of being beautiful and everything. But, you know, Keith Urban's been nominated.
Yeah.
Okay? How do you guys handle that sort of thing? Or do you it just organically comes together because, you know, you're in the background now, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, first of all, we're both genuinely in love, unconditionally in love. We're a real couple. There's no facade. It's the real deal. So we're happy for each other in any situation. I'm very happy to be the purse holder on the red carpet with her, and she loves coming to our events too, and being my wife. So we're happy for each other's successes always.
Now, when you don't win, does she get like pissed off?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely not. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You loser. No, we roll with it, and I think we love what we get to do as well. And we've been around long enough to know that it's a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you make something that hits, sometimes you make something that doesn't hit, and you just roll with it, you know. She always uses the analogy of pulling the poker machine handle. When you have long careers that we've both been blessed to have, it's like pulling a poker machine handle. You're going to pull it 100 times before a win comes out. So you better enjoy pulling that handle.
That was a lot of fun, and there's more to the interview, and maybe at some point in another episode we can play back the rest of it.
I would love to hear more.
Okay, I understand you're ready now for our social snapshot.
Yeah, you know, every week I'm going to just give you guys some of the fun news that I see and one must-follow account that you guys should be following. Probably the post that made me smile the most this week was from Mr. Luke Combs. I mean, he is having a great year all the way around.
Yes, he is. The man is on fire. I think how many #1 songs has he had?
I think he's up to 4, and he's got the 3 CMA nominations, a platinum album.
Ooh, yeah, he is definitely on fire.
I mean, Luke is just winning at life right now. And, you know, his first arena tour went on sale, and he shared on Instagram that 23 of those 28 shows sold out in the very first weekend.
Are you serious?
How cool is that?
Now that's when you're getting into superstar land when they sell that quick.
Oh yeah, I mean, watch out, world, because Luke he's going to be one of the genre's very top sellers in the next couple of years. I think. I can't wait to hear the sophomore album.
No, me either.
All right, I got one more for you.
Okay, go ahead.
So every week, I promise you, I'm going to give you an account that you've absolutely got to follow. Usually, it's going to be a country star, but you know what? This week, it's not. This week's honors go to @Porter the dog.
Porter the dog, okay.
Yes. So Porter is the adorable German Shepherd puppy that Chris Young got for Christmas last year.
Aw.
It's major awe. I mean, he's absolutely adorable. Chris has snapped almost 100 pictures and videos of Porter. Everything from destroying toys to hanging out on his tour bus, going on the road. Is an absolute must follow. So while you guys are on Instagram following @This Week in Country, make sure you also follow @Porter the dog.
I'm Bob Guerra. We have spent all of our podcast talking about what's new, and now we're going to go back in time for our flashback feature as we remember some of the all-time greatest artists and hits from the Sony Legacy Library. Now, I'd like to step back about 13 years when I had the pleasure to talk to Brooks and Dunn about their then new album, Hillbilly Deluxe, and their then new single, Play Something Country.
Oh, play something country.
I have labeled the single, Play Something Country, as the perfect Brooks and Dunn song. It brings all the energy and drive that you guys are known for. The lyrics fit the times. And with Tony Brown producing it, makes it all sound new and fresh. Comments, guys?
Only Tony Brown can get that wolf howl on there.
Yeah, if you're that impressed with I'm worried about you.
That's the good, that's the great thing about this business and stuff. You can try to do all these different things and come up with these great, deep subjects and stuff to write about, and just one simple says it all.
Well, I think we are out of time, and that's going to do it for episode number 1 of This Week in Country Music.
Now, until the next episode, fans can follow us on socials and make sure to subscribe so that you get the next This Week in Country Music podcast direct to your inbox.